Welcome to the Speaker Mind podcast powered by TorchPro. I'm your co-host, Danny Healy, sitting here with my other wonderful co-host, Buffalo Sabres, Riley Sheahan. Riley, I'm really excited about this journey we're about to embark. I think our goal here at the podcast is to help people feel more comfortable about things they're dealing with internally. We want to help normalize conversations around mental health and help spread awareness around this topic. The last few years, where we sit now in 2021, there's been a lot that's gone on, and a lot of people are dealing with different things in their life. So we want to reach out. We want to help people feel more comfortable. And I think your story is going to be really touching and empowering. You went through a lot in your career and your life. And I think those stories are going to touch a lot of people in a lot of different ways. So happy to dive more into that on this first episode. We're going to have more people, more guests on this podcast from all over, not just the world of sports, but from many different backgrounds. So I'm excited to talk to those people, hear their experiences about mental health, and it's going to be a ton of fun. Before diving into your background specifically, I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you're excited for this podcast and what got you the urge to speak up about this topic.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of been meaning to do it for a while, and I want to do it in the right way. And I think, just as you said, being able to relate to some listeners, and
Yep.
I mean, if they can listen to this and feel a little more comfortable at where they are with their mental well-being and the issues that they may have, that's the number one goal. And I think when I can hear stories about guys going through certain things or girls going through certain things and I can relate to that, I sometimes feel at ease. So I think that's the goal. And I think just for me, doing this podcast is something that's uncomfortable, to be honest. And talking about these issues for myself is a little bit uncomfortable, but I enjoy the conversation and I enjoy doing something new and having my mind work in a different way than the professional athlete's lifestyle sort of is so routine and everything's set up for them. And I think this is just something different for me. So I'm extremely excited for it.
Yeah, I'm excited. And I really appreciate you coming out and being so open about these topics. I know, like you said, it's really, really hard. And a lot of professional athletes aren't doing it. So creating a platform for yourself, that's amazing. And then also when we talk about goals of this podcast, I think if we can help touch one person that helps them feel more comfortable about things they're dealing with, that's a win for us. I think we're going to go beyond just one person, but I think that's a good start. So I'd love to just hear a little bit now diving into your story. At what age did you start to begin to feel anything or feel feelings around the world of mental health?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely remember when I was younger, kind of going through uncomfortable phases, whether I was playing in hockey tournaments or going to hockey camps with um, guys I was intimidated by or teams I was intimidated by. You just kind of, when I didn't know many people around or when I wasn't really comfortable, just that feeling of helplessness and panic. And I remember like not finishing some sessions due to that, and kind of putting my parents through the ringer, wondering what I was feeling. And I think as I got older, I sort of could go off being a little bit of like I was the better player. I stayed in my hometown, so I always knew people around me and things like that. And I think then I went to college and then turned professional. I think through those times, I really had some tough goes with feeling helpless, like little panic attacks here and there, and things like that. So I mean, I definitely started young. When I look back to it, I can compare some of those feelings with the feelings that I've gone through in the past, and as I've been a professional hockey player. But yeah, definitely at that 10 or 11 age, I think is when I really started to feel things weren't right.
Got it. And now, where you are now as a professional hockey player in the NHL, was there anything that you were kind of afraid of about coming out and being more open about things you've dealt with in the past?
Yeah, you worry about, I mean, your job is kind of in the hands of your general manager, the ownership, whoever it is. And you worry about if you come out and say something that your job in the league is going to be at risk because you have these issues. But um, I think for me too, even like just coming out and saying these things in a genuine way where um, I don't want any attention from it or anything like that. I just genuinely want to be able to talk about it and
Right.
to have other people relate to it and see if I can help anybody. So and then you worry about the judgment of your teammates and your peers and whatever that may be. But I mean, this is something that comes with me as a person. So I'm comfortable with it. And I think a lot of people do deal with these issues. They just don't talk about it, and they just push them aside, and they try to forget about them. But I think that's when it becomes dangerous. So I'm just trying to do what I can now to be relatable and to bring up these topics.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then you talked a little bit about people kind of holding in what they're feeling and being scared to share that. Could you talk a little bit about that first kind of moment for you and kind of things that you use, resources, maybe it was therapy, journaling, things like that, that helped you kind of get over that hump and feel more comfortable?
Yeah, so when I was 21 or so, in my first couple of years of playing pro, I went to a therapist, and he sort of diagnosed me with having some depression issues. And I think since then I've sort of taken some small steps towards um, learning new ways to be proactive when I do get those feelings. And then it's kind of hit me more as of late, is really trying to nail down on how I can feel my best each and every day and not go through these phases and ups and downs. And then I think most importantly, not have my hockey playing totally judge how I'm going to feel that next day. So I think a lot of my early career, that was the case, as kind of a roller coaster of emotions, and certain things that went on that would cause me to be happy or cause me to be more sad. Um, so I really would like to be able to just kind of stay consistent with how I'm feeling. And I'm married now. I got a little kid on the way, and I just would like to be in a proper headspace and feel good so I can be the best person I could be.
Well, congrats on the baby, first of all. That's awesome news. And then I know, talking about a little bit, knowing a little bit more about your story personally, that journaling's been huge for you. And we did a piece on you with TorchPro about it. But could you just dive in a little bit more about journaling and how you utilize that resource?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in writing things down. And I mean, I've always thought it was just kind of bullshit, to be honest. Before, I
Yeah,
was like, there's no chance I could sit down. What the hell am I going to write about? Like, take 5 minutes of your day and write something down. I'm like, well, I got nothing,
I'm
so I'm just
sure
going to close the
a
book.
lot of other people probably feel that same way too. Like, oh, journaling, that's like not the cool thing to do.
Yeah, and I understand that, but I'm at a point now where I don't really care, and
Yeah.
I just want to feel good, and this has really helped me. So I I take every morning, I'll try to go 5 minutes at least where I write just three things I'm grateful for. And um, they could be the smallest things, and doesn't even matter, to the biggest things, to people you're thankful, whatever it is, literally anything. Because I find that it just opens up my perspective to how I'm going to feel during the day. And I could be driving down the street and just see, like, I'm in Chicago here, and just see the Chicago skyline, or whatever it is, and just be like, wow, that really is cool. Like, we did this as humans, whatever it is. Just, you can start kind of going
Right.
down the rabbit hole, and then it's contagious, and you start to be thankful to all the people in your life, or people you're surrounded by, whatever it is. So I really find it's contagious. And then I can go on, if I have time, then um, I'll write about who I want to be and dig deeper and do some free thinking. And I just find it really helps me change my perspective, um, and just go from there. And it's really been a good tool for me.
That's amazing. And I think it's really interesting you talk about that. And I think that's treating your mind right. Is there any ways that kind of treating your body right kind of correlates to mental health, like being healthy, staying active, playing sports, or whatever it may be? How helpful can that be to mental health?
Yeah, for sure. It's I mean, everyone, you hear it everywhere, like getting active, whatever it is, like that's, someone was saying a good workout is the equivalent to taking like one dosage of Zoloft or something, like. And I'm a big believer in getting out and doing things. I find when like, when I'm just sitting on my couch, or doing things that are mind numbing, I definitely feel it. Sometimes I get caught in those traps. But um, I mean, for me, working out, I work out here in Chicago with a guy named Ian Mack, and his Tomahawk Science is his company. I'll give him a little shout out. But he's unbelievable, and he understands how 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 crazy the brain is, and how we really don't understand much of it. And just being able to work that into your workouts, and having your body feel good is a I mean, that's an easy way to allow your mind to function properly. And And I've really noticed since being with him that that's been a lot of help for me. So yeah, definitely working out. I love playing music. I play guitar. I listen to a lot of music. Anything that kind of gets my mind going. I love to learn. I love to take time, like I said, to write in my journal and think about new things. So, I mean, it's hard to do that in this day and age. I think with you get how powerful social media is and video games. I fall into that trap a bit. I play a bit of video games, but
What's
I
your
mean,
favorite game?
I'm a Call of Duty guy. I play with my buddies from back home, and it's our way of staying in touch and then having some laughs and playing some COD. So it's good, but you can fall into that trap too. So you got to be careful.
Totally. And it sounds like we should have Ian on the podcast soon and talk about that whole world because it seems crazy.
Yeah, no, he's unbelievable. He's just a really, really good person. I love going to the gym just to talk with him, and then compound that with getting a really good workout. And I know it's working me the right way to be a hockey player and to think clearly too.
Yep. And now I want to backtrack a little bit here about on your personal story. We talked about your feelings and kind of what you're afraid of to come out and talk about your mental health issues, but was there a certain like instance or event that kind of you're like, okay, I should probably start to look into this and get some more help when you started, like what you said when you were 21 and went to that first therapy session?
Yeah, so I when I was about I think I would have been 21. I've been in some trouble. I got in trouble when I was 20. Some drinking related offenses. Everybody knows the story, and it is funny on the surface. And I got pulled over wearing a Teletubby costume, and I mean everybody laughs about it. I laugh about it with people because it is just the context of it. It's funny, but I will be honest. It really did. It kind of put me under a bit, and I was able to like laugh about it to my friends and stuff. Not, I mean, them not knowing that I was really like, holy shit, like I really screwed up here, and I let a lot of people down, and that weighed on me a lot. So that next year, these feelings sort of started to compound, and I went out and got some help. I was supposed to be traveling with the team. We had a weekend road trip, but I just couldn't do it. I wasn't in the right headspace. I had these things going on physically. I just felt like I couldn't focus on anything, and I was feeling super shitty. So um, I told the organization that, and they were super supportive. And I went out and got some help, and the guy said that I had some depression issues, and it was kind of just a weight off my shoulders. And there was kind of a road to recovery type of thing since from that day. So I think also just with the Red Wings help, that was huge for me to know that they had my back, and it really allowed me to play better, because I think after that it sort of started to allow me to generate some momentum and play some good hockey, and just feel a little more comfortable with myself.
Totally. And that's awesome to hear the Red Wings were so supportive of you coming out and wanting to get that services and help. And I think now going through that and all the resources you've done, and for someone that's new to mental health and learning about the topic, can you talk about if depression, anxiety, and all these uncomfortable feelings, is that something that someone can totally get over and leave a separate part of their life, or is it always going to be constant and you just always have to continue to work on yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can just totally all of a sudden get rid of it, because I think there's so many things that happen in your life that it's just inevitable that shitty things are going to happen, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, I do think though that if you can accept to just be vulnerable to those times, and when those times come, just be a little bit aware of the feelings that are going to come, I think that can be really helpful. Um, so I don't think it's ever going to be something that I just wake up and it's gone. I do think you can build consistency and build the proper tools, and do the right things to allow those feelings to be minimal. And um, I just think that you got to be aware. I mean, you lose people, you deal with things like COVID, you friggin' have a shitty day at work, you lose your dog. Like, there's so many things that are just inevitable and that just are going to be chaotic for you. So I just find that rather than fighting them, just welcome them, and then use the people you're around that are close to you to lean on, and therapists, whatever it is, and just don't be shy about it. Like, it's totally no. I guarantee you that people like, oh, mental health issues, there's nothing, like those don't exist, whatever. Like, they're dealing with something, or they're people that you don't really want to be around. So I think just running with it and being comfortable with it.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful. And you said a lot of powerful things on this show already today. And I kind of wanted to wrap it up with a final question here. And it could be something you've already talked about, not something new, but what is the largest piece of advice that you could offer to anyone at any age that's struggling with mental health right now?
Um, I mean, largest piece of advice is tough. I think I kind of just touched on it right there. Is that whole idea of being accepting towards vulnerability, and um, I think just like that idea of being like strong, especially for a man, like that masculinity and that man's man thing.
Yep.
I just think that's getting old, and times are changing, and it's okay to put yourself out there and talk about these things. I think when you do have these moments of weakness, it just makes you real. It's it's like I said before, it's inevitable. So I think, yeah, just understanding that vulnerability, understand that these chaotic moments are just going to happen, and um, being able to just adjust to those moments, and do your best, and kind of just figure out what works for you. I think at the end of the day, that's all you can ask, and just being comfortable with yourself is huge.
That's great. And so I wanted to thank you. I know it can be tough to kind of look back at the past sometimes. It's a hard issue to talk about, but I think what you're doing in this space is going to be huge and it's going to help a lot of different people. So thank you, Riley. I'm excited to kick off this journey with the podcast, have a lot of different guests on the show, hear their stories, hear their experiences. So I hope people can stay around for that. But thanks again, Riley.
Yeah, thank you, Danny. I'm excited for this, and uh, I hope we can bring on some good guests and generate some good conversation here.
Sounds good. We'll talk soon.